The Duc de l'Omelette by Edgar Allan Poe, and stepped at once into a cooler clime. Cowper. Keats fell by a criticism. Who was it died of? The Andromache. Ignoble souls. De Omelette perished of an ortolan. L'historie in est breve. Assist me, spirit of auspicious. A golden cage bore the little winged wanderer, enamored, melting, indolent, to the Chaussée d'Automne, from its home in far Peru, from its queenly possessor, La Bellissima, to the Duc d'Omelette. 6 peers of the empire conveyed the happy bird. The night the Duke was to sup alone. In the privacy of his bureau he reclined languidly on the ottoman, from which he sacrificed his loyalty in outbidding his king, the notorious Ottoman of Cadet. He buries his face in the pillow. The clock strikes. Unable to restrain his feelings, His Grace swallows an olive. At this moment the door gently opens to the soft sound of music, and lo, the most delicate of birds is before the most enamored of men. But what inexpressible dismay now overshadows the countenance of the Duke? Royer, Jean Baptiste, il lui su, ah bon Dieu, si est usa modeste, quia tu as déchalbe de ses plumes, et is tu a serve sans paupières. It is superfluous to say more. The Duke expired in a paroxysm of disgust. Said His Grace on the 3rd day after his decease. Replied the devil faintly, drawing himself up the air of hauteur. Why, surely you are not serious, retorted de Omelette. I have sinned, says very. Oh, my good sir, consider. You have no actual intention of putting such barbarous threats into execution. No. What? Said His Majesty. Come, sir, strip. Strip indeed. Very pretty, faith. No, sir, I will not strip. Who are you, pray, that I, Duc d'Omelette, Prince de Forgas, just come of age, author of the Marqueskind, and member of the Academy, should divest myself at your bidding of the sweetest pantaloons ever made by Bardon, the daintiest robe de chambre ever put together by Rombert, to say nothing of taking my hair out of paper, not to mention the trouble I should have in drawing off my gloves. Who am I? Ah, true. I am Beelzebub, Prince of the Fly. I took thee, just now, from the rosewood coffin inlaid with ivory. Thou wast curiously scented, and labelled as par invoice. Belial sent thee, my inspector of ceremonies. The pantaloons which thou sayest were made by Bardon are an excellent pair of linen drawers, and thy robe de chambre is shrouded of no scanty dimensions. Sir, replied the Duke, I am not to be insulted with impunity. Sir, I shall take the earliest opportunity of avenging this insult. Sir, you shall hear from me. In the meantime, au revoir. And the Duke was bowing himself out of the satanic presence, when he was interrupted and brought back by a gentleman in waiting. Hereupon His Grace rubbed his eyes, yawned, shrugged his shoulders, reflected. Having become satisfied of his identity, he took a bird's-eye view of his whereabouts. The apartment was superb. Even Diolmier pronounced it bien comme il faut. It was not its length nor its breadth, but its height. Ah, that was appalling. There was no ceiling, certainly none, but a dense whirling mass of fiery-colored clouds. His Grace's brain reeled as he glanced upwards. From above hung a chain of an unknown blood-red metal, its upper end lost, like the city of Boston, palme l'anus. From its nether extremity swung a large crescent. The Duke knew it to be a ruby, but from it there poured a light so intense, so still, so terrible. Persia never worshipped such. Geber never imagined such. Musalman never dreamed of such when, drugged with opium, he had tottered to the bed of poppies, his back to the flowers and his face to the god Apollo. The Duke muttered a slight oath, decidedly approbatory. The corners of the room were rounded into niches. 3 of these were filled with statues of gigantic proportions. Their beauty was Grecian, their deformity Egyptian, and their tout ensemble French. In the 4th niche the statue was veiled. It was not colossal, but then there were a taper ankle, a sandaled foot. Delomier pressed his hand upon his heart, closed his eyes, raised them, and caught his satanic majesty in a blush. But the paintings, Cupris, Astarte, Astaroth, 1,000 and the same, and Raphael has beheld them. Yes, Raphael has been here, for did he not paint the... And was he not consequently damned? The paintings, the paintings! Oh, luxury, oh, love! Who, gazing on those forbidden beauties, shall have eyes for the dainty devices of the golden frames that besprinkle, like stars, the hyacinth and the porphyry walls? But the Duke's heart in fainting within him. He is not, however, as you suppose, dizzy with magnificence, nor drunk with the ecstatic breath of those innumerable censers. Si es vale qui de taus si chosas il a persa biocop maes. And the Duc de Lomé is terror-stricken, for though the lurid vista which a single uncurtained window is affording, lo, gleams most ghastly of all fires. Et Dieu! He could not help imagining that the glorious, the voluptuous, the never-dying melodies which pervaded that hall as they passed, filtered, and transmuted through the alchemy of the enchanted window-panes, were the wailings and the howlings of the hopeless and the damned. And there, too, there, upon that ottoman, who could he be? He, the petit maitre, no, the deity, who sat as if carved in marble, et quiescit, with his pale countenance, si omnianet, si l'enfant est. That is to say, a Frenchman never faints outright. Besides, his Grace hated a scene. Deolmier is himself again. There were some foils upon the table, some points also. The Duke had studied under B. Il avait tous ses 6 hommes. Now then, il est parti sur Père. He measures 2 points, and with a grace imitatable, offers His Majesty the choice. However, His Majesty does not fence. As he said just, how happy a thought! But His Grace had always an excellent memory. He had dipped in the dibble of Abbé Galatier. Therein it is said, Quelle diable nois pas refusa un jeu de capte. But the chances, the chances! True, desperate, but scarcely more desperate than the Duke. Besides, was he not in the secret? Had he not skimmed over Pierre Le Brun? Was he not a member of the club Digit Un? Si je perds, said he. Dirigi sale du voyage perdu. I shall be doubly damned. Viola trout. Here his Grace shrugged his shoulders. Si j'y connais, j'y reviendrai à mes ortolans, qui les cartes Juliet prepartes. His Grace was all care, all attention. His Majesty all confidence. A spectator would have thought of Francis and Charles. His Grace thought of his game. His Majesty did not think. He shuffled. The Duke cut. The cards were dealt. The trump is turned. It is the King. No, it was the Queen. His Majesty cursed her masculine habiliments. De Leomia placed his hand upon his heart. They play. The Duke counts. The hand is out. His Majesty courts heavily, smiles, and is taking wine. The Duke slips a card. C'est ça vu, Alfred, said His Majesty, cutting. His Grace bowed, dealt, and arose from the table and presented le roi. His Majesty looked chagrined. Had Alexander not been Alexander, he would have been Diogenes, and the Duke assured his antagonist in taking leave. Qui sili noad paste est, de Leomia ear narret, point the objection, declare the dialogue. Notes. Montefiore, the author of the Parnassi Reforme, makes him thus speak in Hades. Les hommes donc que voudriez sévir si dont je suis morte, qu'il n'y demande pas si fut de fièvre ou du podagre ou d'autres choses, mais qu'elle attendait que si fut de l'Andromaque.